Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're doing some home maintenance on the outside of the house. Not so much as curb appeal as it is for functionality, because we need to seal this fence. We've been here a year and a half and it's time to paint it so that way the bugs and stuff don't get to it and the sun doesn't continue to damage it. So we headed over to Home Depot to find something to paint the fence with. I knew I didn't want to do paint because I know that paint has to be reapplied so much, and although it's a little bit cheaper, in my opinion, it's just not worth it because the job itself is so long and it kind of just leaves money on the line for us because it disrupts our working schedule. So it's just kind of not worth it, and so we just spent a little bit more and got the paint and sealer. This one's supposed to be rated for 25 years. I really don't know if it's going to last that long, obviously. We did not bleach the fence prior to doing this because it was a newer fence. But I don't know, we'll see how it holds up, and if nothing else, I mean, we'll always just go back over it. My number one quick tip for doing home maintenance and home projects is definitely you have to estimate your time within reason, and it always takes double if not triple the amount of time to do a project than you think it's going to take, especially if you're somebody that's doing a home project, a DIY or home maintenance, and your job isn't to do that and you're not filming it. Then you have to make time around your regular life too, so always plan for extra time. Doing these outdoor projects, it's always fun to get the kids involved, especially like when it comes to painting. You know, they're like, oh, this looks like fun, and it's not really too much of anything that they could mess up, so it's a good time for everybody to practice. Because I mean, let's be honest, we didn't know what the heck we were doing either. We just got what we thought was going to work tool wise, supply wise, and then we went in willy-nilly. We had to figure it out, and I'll talk about the adjustments that we made along the way. But at this time, James was trying to show Jordan how to do this, and he was like, okay, I'll do the top and then you can do the bottom. And she was apprehensive. She didn't really want to do it, and then she kind of did and then kind of didn't, and then finally she got a little comfortable and she actually did a few passes on her own, and she had a big smile and it was cute. She enjoyed it, even though she was like, this is heavy. So once the paint started going up, I was like, oh yeah, this is going to look really good. So I was excited to get it done. When we started this, we did not map out the weather. So it was a really beautiful day and we didn't plan for anything, but later it did end up raining. So I'll tell you about that situation later down the road. But he ended up making an adjustment on this sprayer. This is the Avanti paint sprayer from Harbor Freight. I feel like it's a pretty affordable one, especially considering the price range of some of the more premium ones. But I think that if you just clean this properly throughout using it and you use the right things, I think it's great for home use. We didn't have any issue with it. We did this whole fence. We did have to clean it a lot. And that's just in between uses. It didn't really give us any fuss while we were using it. And then I'm really excited actually, because I want to use this to paint the pantry. As you know, like our food storage room's in the basement, so I don't get much airflow down there. So waiting until now to do it was actually a great idea, because now I can open the windows and get some air circulation down there. Which I need to hurry up and get my butt in gear and finish that, because, you know, sale time's coming October, November. But anyways, that's for another day. So while we were painting the fence,
I got a little visitor. Who is it? Hello. Look what we got here. Isn't he cute? Isn't he so cute? What are you doing? This is Michael. What are you doing? Oh, I miss you so much.
so while we were painting the fence, my sister stopped by with my nephew, Michael. He's the cutest. And we were hanging out there. Of course, Jordan stayed out there even when she wasn't helping, because she's the outside child. The other one likes to stay in her room all the time, you know, turning 15 this month. And then Jordan's turning 11 this year. So she still plays outside and stuff, and explores a lot in the yard. So she likes hanging out while we're working and stuff. And that's cool. I think kids should be included when applicable, obviously, because, you know, they're just going to get accustomed to the things that need done. And it's not just like, oh, things just get done. You know what I mean? Like, we got to do them. This project was so funny. And like I said in the beginning, like when you're planning out a project, you never know how it's going to go. And depending on the project, like you might get going and you open up a whole different can of worms. So you can't even estimate anything. You just have to go with the flow when it comes with home maintenance and projects. But my husband is the epitome of like, oh, this is only going to take 1 to 2 hours. And like, that's his answer for everything. And I'm like, dude, you don't understand how long this is going to take. And it's really funny because as a house cleaner and as a cleaner in general, I have to estimate how long the job's going to take me quite often. So I've become accustomed to like getting my timing done based on the work that I do. And it's just crazy because like I said, you can't really estimate projects like this that you're not familiar with, especially when you haven't done them before. And that's a big part of like, you know, being a homeowner. We're in our 30s. So, I mean, we've owned homes, like we've had our home before, but our last privacy fence, we didn't paint it yet. So this is our first time like actually painting a fence and using the sprayer and all that. So it's been quite funny because every project in the house this year has been, oh yeah, that's only going to take an hour. Go grab the hammer, go grab the paint, right? And it's like, geez, it takes an hour just to shop for the supplies, you know? But anyway, so I went out and I went to hang out with my sister for a bit while she was stopping through, and he continued on with the fence. We actually ended up finding some spots that needed to be repaired. We didn't repair them in time, and the dog broke through one of the fences. Like, the whole reason why we wanted the wood fence and why it's so annoying is because through having pets, at our old house, our neighbor had one of the plastic privacy fences, like the nice fancy white ones, and they went through a couple of the panels. Now, luckily, they were able to pop back into place, but through that experience, we learned we can't put up a plastic privacy fence. So we went with wood in our last house. And so that's why we went with wood here too, to try to keep them contained, because they're a bunch of psychopaths. They're not super evil or anything, but like they need to have boundaries. So they end up breaking through one of these boards, of course. So I had to like really janky it up, because we recently, when we got the roof done, we actually got rid of all of our scrap wood too, to clean up the driveway and clean out the garage. And so I didn't have a scrap piece of wood in sight to fix it for the repair from how they broke it. I'll share it in another video because that's kind of a funny ordeal too, but that's for another day. But while he was using this sprayer, if you do happen to get one like this, the nozzle is adjustable for the sprayer, I guess, if that makes sense. The size of a spray, I don't know, the span, the spray span, you can adjust basically. So once he learned that you can adjust that, it started to go a lot faster because the sprayer span was covering a lot more of the plank through each pass. So that went relatively well. So it took about 2 hours to do the outside of the fence once we got everything going and we got all the little nuances out of the way, and we got the proper paint and cords and all that jazz. It took about 2 hours. So as the project went on, it became apparent that it was probably going to rain. We knew we weren't expecting a huge storm, but we knew it was going to rain. So we did get to starting the outside of the fence, and then we decided to pack it in because we actually ran out of paint. We thought we needed 1 or 2 jugs, but we actually ended up having to go back to the store 2 more times because we needed 4. And I'll tell you about that tent later. But at this point, we decided to go ahead and pack it in because we thought some weird weather was coming. And if you're not from Michigan, check out these sounds. This is what it sounds like right now. So I recruited my sister to help Jordan prepare these things to clean them while I was cleaning out the buckets and stuff. And she had her out here cleaning through all the tubes inside of here with just regular water each time after we were done. So that way we didn't, ruin it in between uses. I tried to take my time scrubbing through these pieces and getting all the little nozzles wiped down and off, and just wiping down the outside of it. On the intake air filter on the back, I tried to wipe that off as to not clog it all. And all in all, for this project, I think we ended up cleaning this thing like about 3, 4, maybe 5 times all in all, just giving it a rinse and a wipe down and everything. But it's holding up. I'm excited to use this in the pantry. Hopefully it goes well. I think I'm going to spray paint the whole pantry wall as well as the side of it. I'm glad I waited till now actually, because I think now I'll be able to get some airflow down there since I can open the windows up down there, unlike when it was summer. And then, all those, thick chemicals from the paint would have been stuck down there. While we waited for the next day, I cleaned up all this stuff, and then James also went ahead and replaced a light that was messed up going down into our basement here. I don't really know what happened, but we just took it off and went and got a new one. I don't think he threw it away because I'd like to replace one on the outside with this one, but I actually forgot to ask him, so we'll see. But we ended up putting this one up right here. I do need to wipe it down, but what's important is that it's been replaced. I'm so over this backyard. Way too much sticks and stuff from this tree. It needs help. Needs a lot of help, this big old tree. That was another one of the major things, and I'm going to talk all about this backyard at the end of the video. But I did need to call the city to figure out what we need to do about these trees and see what's going on, because I actually got worried about the branches falling off in the front yard, and Jordan likes to play all over the yard, so I was worried that she was going to get hurt. So I said that we would address it later, but I've begun the process to address it now. I just don't know what our options are yet and what we're going to do as of now in terms of company, city, DIY. I don't really know, but I'm going to figure it out, because I don't know if this trees can like really take a winter. Being that it's been kind of rough this summer, so we'll see. So what we ended up doing was we got started, and of course, in good old fashion, we're rushing out of the store. I wanted to read the back of the label of everything to see, you know, everything up front, because that's kind of how I am. I kind of want to know the info, and James is kind of, let's just grab it and give it a wing. So it was weird because the cans even had different colors on them, so it ended up being their translucency, I guess, had something to do with it. But so we're shopping, and I thought we picked a color. Well, by the time we finally got around to painting the fence, I'm like, is the sprayer not working, or is the paint not working? Are we supposed to thin it? Because it was kind of coming out like a weird glue, and I thought it was white because I opened it and it was white, and I was like, oh, maybe this is just like not the color, and it's just actually a clear seal, and it just kind of gives it like, you know, a revived kind of look when it dries. I don't know where my brain was, but I was like thinking it was white. So after one or two passes on a couple panels, I'm like, this isn't right. So I Googled it, and I'm like, we were supposed to get it tinted. I'm like, oh, it all makes sense now. So we had to take the paint back, and we had already used about a quarter of the bucket, mixing it up and thinning it out and trying to see what the heck was going on. So we ended up taking and getting it tinted. I ended up going with Olympic Maximum in the color Timber, and it was a solid base, and it's a paint and seal. And he was like, if you do two different cans, it's going to be two different colors because one is already missing so much. So that's why we end up doing the mixing in the 5-gallon bucket here, because we end up blending the two paints to kind of even it out more. It worked out perfectly because those 2 gallons of paint actually covered the whole front of the fence. And then in the back, we used 2 different cans of paint. So there ended up not being any weird variations along the whole track of the boards, like on either side. But they still do look the exact same. It's just that if you were looking at them both side by side, you might see a small, you know, differentiation, but it's really nothing that's, I don't think, anything noticeable. But that's how we went about that situation since we used some of the paint. Now, we thought we would only need like 1 or 2 things of paint, and we were dead wrong. So we ended up needing 4 for this space. The guy at the counter, he was like, yeah, if you're using a sprayer, sometimes you do end up needing more, but that's just because like it is giving it an even coverage. I'm not really sure, but that's just what happened to have gone with us. And we didn't thin the paint at all once we got it out of the can. So our total cost for this project, for this outside little upgrade, was $250 because each can of paint was $45 each. We had 4 cans of paint, and then we purchased the Avanti paint sprayer, and that was about $70 from Harbor Freight, and the paint came from Home Depot, which really isn't that bad because I feel like this will last a couple years. I don't know. I don't have a ton of experience with painting a fence, but the quality seemed to be pretty good. It doesn't seem like it's going to flake off like paint would do. So we'll see how it goes through our Michigan winter, and I'll let you guys know when summer comes back around my full thoughts on it. But this really wasn't something we could just put off aesthetically any longer. I mean, not just aesthetically any longer, because although we didn't care of how the exposed wood was looking, if you don't seal your fence, it's going to just ruin the longevity of it in the long term, because the UVs from the sun damage it. It basically just wilts and dries it from the inside or from the outside in, and then all the different kind of bugs that it can attract and harbor, you know, along the grass line and then from the trees and, you know, just anything blowing in the breeze. So it's best to just go ahead and keep up with your upkeep with your fence, because especially if you're like us, you know, we put this in here when we moved here. So, you know, that installation was the bulk of, you know, the budget here for, not the budget, but that installation was a heavy price. And so in order to maintain that investment that we put up doing the fence, it's best to just go ahead and take care of it and maintain it. Even though it might be a pain, it might still look okay. Functional wise, this was best for the fence. It's so funny because like this homeowner thing is like really crazy, right? I know a lot of you guys are telling me like, I don't think I want to buy a house now. And it's like at our old house, like it was a little bit simpler, even though we put in a fence there too. James actually put the fence in at that house as well. And it's just, owning a house that has lots of different structures and stuff to it is just time consuming. The upkeep and maintenance on what you do, it just costs, and a lot of stuff you do, like I swear, it's just the low maintenance route is just the way to go, because anytime you get super fancy, like all that different stuff has to be maintained, and that's one of the things I think that doesn't get thought about, because we couldn't just pop this fence in and then forever not think about it. It's kind of like a cool thing, right, compared to like the white fence, which we don't have to clean it as much compared to like a white fence, right? But it does have to then be painted often as well because of the upkeep. So I don't know. Owning a home has a lot of those nuances based on the simplicity or complexity of your home. But yeah, definitely a lot to keep up with on the home maintenance front. I also didn't bleach the fence prior to doing this. So we got this installed about a year and a half ago. I didn't bleach anything, but as we were going along, what I was doing on this side, since it did have like all the little spaces along these backboards, like for debris to catch, I was taking a small bristle brush, like a soft one, and I was going through knocking off like any straw and like dirt, debris and bugs and stuff. And it wasn't perfect because this is an outside structure, obviously, but I was just knocking off the majority of it so the paint can really get down there. Hear those cicadas in the trees? I'm pretty sure that's what it is making that loud noise. The fence looks really good. I'm really happy with how beautiful it looks. The color I think was perfect. I really was going to do a lighter one when we were there, and I thought the darker one was kind of like the one I thought I was getting on the can originally at the start of the video. But this one popped out at me, and I'm so glad that we got this one because I think it looks amazing against the green grass, and it just looks so good back here. You know, when you do anything, everything happens, and one of the things was I realized when I was over here painting that the dogs did happen to get the screen over here on our sunroom. Well, on the front end of this, they keep tearing down the drain spout as well, so we decided to put our little mini shed thingy right here. We're going to push this in this corner. Once we get all this cleaned out, we're waiting for this to dry, then we're going to push that in that corner. We probably won't be replacing that screen or anything because we don't even really use that part of the sunroom, you know what I'm saying? So that happened that I found, but then this happened. And I was like, we're already just trying to do this one thing. And then I spilled like a big flow drop of paint right here, the seal and stain. The dog accidentally got out here from one of the kids. They weren't paying attention, and I tried to put him in, and I tripped over something over here, a stick. And then the paint flung out of the can, right down there onto the ground, and I'm like, man, what the hell? So now I like swooshed it around to try to get it real flat so it can dry, but what I'm gonna do is maybe sand it off. I wanted to paint this patio anyway. I just didn't intend to do it right now, and now we have that big splatter right there. We're already at the end of August, so I doubt we're gonna have time to do it this year. I'll probably just wait because we have a lot of rocks to move around and stuff. We're gonna be adding rocks along the fence and stuff to help with getting rid of water, and then the dogs are digging. Before we say this project is absolutely done, I have to get out here and I have to hammer in a couple of nails into a couple boards that need to be reinforced from the dogs. And I might have to just add a couple big rocks or something. I have a big planter over here behind the house. I was thinking of just putting along in this corner. I see they're digging. There's nowhere for them to go over there, but along this fence I might need to add something, just because they've started to dig. So I'm gonna put maybe that pot right there, and I wanted to add the rocks. These rocks right here is what needs to come out. There used to be a wall here that was like kind of like a privacy wall before we had a privacy fence when we bought the house. But I want to pick up all these rocks with the wheelbarrow and kind of zhuzh them around the fence. I don't know how much these rocks are, because it would be great to keep this same color consistently, because it looks great with the color of this fence. I think it just matches well as like a muted outdoor color. It's not like stark like white ones would be. And then it matches our new roof too. So you'll notice here these rocks fit really well. I can't get my camera to go over there because this camera doesn't zoom. Unfortunately, this lens doesn't zoom. We got like a brown roof, so it goes well with the fence, and the rocks will look nice. And then this patio, I just don't know what color to do. It might even look cute doing the patio white, since everything else is kind of muted and matchy. It might be cute to put like a stark contrast down on the patio, or something of that sort, or maybe like a cute stencil or something. I don't really know, because it's all cracked up, so I have no idea. When it comes to this territory, it would be a complete DIY. But I know that I think we could maybe get a sander and rough this up, maybe throw some sand in it, and paint it. I think if we sprayed it, it might come out better. I just don't know how long it would last on spraying versus paint, but I can tell that this is chipping up a lot, so it might need to be roughed up prior to just, slapping it on there, because otherwise it might have to be redone. But I want to put something down that doesn't need a lot of maintenance, obviously, because I don't want to have to do this every year, like maybe touch-ups or something every 4 or 5 years or something like that. But I want to do something that's very low maintenance, so we'll see. Overall, there's been a ton of stuff going on here with renovations that we're going to have to do in our bedroom. These big girl, big boy things we had to do back here, so we couldn't make the backyard cute this year like I had wanted to. So many different other financial obligations came up, and this fence actually ended up being way more to do than I initially thought, because we needed so many jugs of paint. And then of course we had to do the roof, so that's kind of like the curb appeal for this year. And then hopefully next year I'll be able to get into doing the patio and stuff, because I would like to take some time to find what I want to put back here. I'm also kind of scared to even set this up all the way. Like the patio I want to take care of for sure, like the cement part, especially now that I dumped that dang paint over there. I got to figure something out. But before making it extra cutesy, the other really big pressing thing we have to do out here is we have really big trees over here. This tree right here is bigger than our house, and every time the wind blows and it storms, big branches fall down all the time. As you can see here, there's a collection of sticks just happening because so many branches fall down on the house so much. And that's kind of also what was helping to ruin our roof as well. And sometimes they get stuck on our power lines and everything, so we can't even really burn them that much because we don't have fires a lot, so we can't keep up on them even if we tried. But it makes it hard to mow the grass and stuff because of all this just little tiny sticks that are just constantly accumulating. So it's just so hard to keep up on them. So we are going to need to get the trees trimmed back, and they need some help because I doubt they've ever been done. So I know trees grow a lot and fast all the time, but I feel like once it's done, we probably won't have as much of an issue for quite a while, if ever. Depending on how things go in the next couple years, if we can't, we might honestly maybe just take this tree down. I don't really know, just because of the hazard that it poses. Because even if the dogs are out here, if it's windy or something, there's a high chance these can fall on them, and that falling on the dog from up there could really hurt them, if not really hurt them, like kill them. So like this one, this big old one right here, if this would have fallen on them, that would be a problem. They do love carting these around and chewing on them and stuff, but it's not safe, so we got to figure that situation out, even if we have to rent something and do it ourselves. But we're gonna have to do that. This one also needs some help, but this one's not as close to the house, so it kind of falls on the side and over on this side right here. But that doesn't pose a hazard to, the dogs and the roof and stuff like that, like this one does.
I wanna do it all with you by my side. If you're in, meet me here tonight. Be brave and come along, I'll be your ride. Promise we don't need no brake lights. We can travel the world, so just say yes. Choose to do whatever comes next. This or that, getting drunk on whiskey on a Tuesday night, or drinking red wine by an open fire, make love or fight. This or that, this or that, evenings on the train or catch a morning flight, enjoying dinner until midnight, or bed by night. This or I wanna see it all, find the northern lights, see the stars in the open wild, catch a glimpse of Panama. We don't need a map, I'll let you know when we've arrived.